Let us pray. Heavenly Father, Lord, we come before you now, acknowledging you as the Almighty God, the sovereign and creator of this universe, the giver of all good gifts. And Lord, we just thank you for your mercy, for your light, and for your truth. At this time across this planet, Lord, when there's so many that would barricade there, I just pray that those barriers would come down. That your light, your truth would prevail. This opportunity for this council to meet this night, Lord, and carry on business, I just pray that again, that everything is done is that which you would be fitting unto you and that which you can bless. And Lord, for the guidance that you always give, Lord, we just pray that for our ability on our sight to be able to follow that guidance. But at times that we don't, Lord, we thank you for your forgiveness. We pray for it in Jesus' name. We ask all these in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Your honor, you pledge for allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Yes, please do the roll call.
Mr. Page?
Here.
Mrs. Hoover?
Here.
Mr. Kilcoyne?
Here.
Mr. Cheekwood? Here. Mr. Salter?
Here.
All present.
Okay. Number 5 would be invitation to guests, any presentation, I'm having to thank Mr. Mike and Mr. Case.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for the opportunity to speak to you again. Mike Ferdinand, Natchez Community Alliance. As I had presented at your last council meeting, it was my belief that I would be able to stand before you here this evening and talk a bit about a project that is looking at expanding in Natchez. That is Project Pavarotti. You may be familiar with it, more familiar with it as the Warehouser project. They have an application turned into ITEP, that's the Industrial Tax Exemption Program with the state. They are anticipating it going before the state on either April 28th or June 23rd during the next Commerce and Industry Board meeting. From there, it would come back to this body for review. In the last meeting, I pledged that I never want to blindside you with anything, so as soon as I receive a cleared application in hand, we'll disseminate it to all of you in the manner that is best for you to be able to review so that you can take it up at the next parish council meeting. Keep in mind that this tax exemption would not affect any of the existing taxes that are currently being paid. This is an exemption being sought only on the new equipment and necessary expenditures for this project. It's very important for us as a community to go ahead and keep and support our existing businesses. Not only does it help extend the life of these facilities, but as other industries consider us for that new big project, they look on how we treat our existing businesses as they try to make their final decisions. So I look forward to passing on the information as soon as I receive it, and look forward to moving through the process. Are there any questions?
This is an expansion at the current plant?
This is a reinvestment.
Reinvest.
Yes, sir.
Okay, what does that mean?
So it means they're modernizing and bringing in new equipment to help extend the life of the facility.
Does it create new jobs?
Yes,
Good. Okay.
it does create new jobs. I would, since I don't have that application in hand, I would refer to a company representative for that, if that's okay. So,
Would you like to come forward?
if it's okay for me to speak.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think, come forward and state your name, tell them who you are.
Good evening. My name is Jason Smith. I'm the mill manager at the warehousing facility. With regards to new jobs, we're estimating 20 new jobs would be created. The key for us really is it's also a job retention program. So we have equipment that wears out, and then it will be retaining approximately 210 jobs that we have today. So it's both a job creation as well as retention.
At what job level will these jobs be? At what level?
And so
Administration, in the plant, what level?
So there'd be a variety. We'd have everything from veneer grading to machine operators, bill tenders. It would be a living wage job, if you will. And when we bring in the full proposal, we can go through the economics and talk about the salary creation and the wages that we created with the jobs.
Thank you for that.
Any other questions or?
When you come back, will you have some groceries up in hand on how much, for us, how much money is going to take for the expansion? If it's going to create jobs, go in the project, and all of that type of thing.
Correct.
So let's come back with a breakdown of it, so they can pretty much have a better idea of where and what and how much.
Yeah, our intent would be to review the scope of the project, talk a little bit about what it is, and then specifically what the capital is, how much money we'll be spending, as well as the number of jobs that are retained, the jobs that are created. We'll talk through some of the benefits and the economics that go with that, and some of the tax dollars that it brings into the area with the project.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you all so much for the opportunity and look forward to working with you on the project.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
Next visitor is Mr. Joshua Holland, Joshua G. Holland. If you will, tell us, say who you are and all that good stuff.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of Parish Council. My name is Joshua Hollins, Vice President with Stiefel and Nicholas. Stiefel and Nicholas is a public finance firm. Our role is that we underwrite municipal bonds. I definitely want to thank Councilwoman Hoover for giving us the invitation to be here tonight. And simply what we're here for tonight is our firm is the #1 underwriter in the state of Louisiana and the country. We did over 40 deals across the state of Louisiana. We work in this area. Right now, we're actually doing a bond deal for Sabine Schools right down the road. Just did a refinance of bonds for Rapides Parish. So we work all around the state to help parishes, municipalities, public bodies meet their needs in terms of whether it be sewage projects, drainage projects, road projects, whatever you would like to raise capital for to meet the needs of your citizens in your parish. That's what we do. And so we're a firm, our group has been working in the state of Louisiana for over 25 years. And we work from large deals to small deals. And so if the opportunity presents itself, we would definitely love to be of service to Natchitoches Parish with the opportunity to work with the council and of course with deference to your treasurer, who I'm sure does a fine job of advising you all on financial matters. So again, my name is Joshua Hollins with Stiefel. I think the clerk has some information about our firm. In the back of that package, you'll see the deals that we've done across the state that show you that we work from North Louisiana, South Louisiana, big deals, small deals, medium deals. We can work with anyone. So we appreciate the opportunity to be in Natchitoches tonight. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Holland.
I'd like to ask a question while he's out.
Go ahead.
My reason for inviting him, because I know that our parish is about to receive $7.5 million. So we definitely want to be ahead of that. And you know we're dying to find out what it covers. Will it be for roads, sewage, all of those things? We would like to know, and the treasurer hasn't released anything, so we are waiting on that money so that we can work with our treasurer to see. And just one question out of that.
Yes, ma'am.
work with municipalities, with the funding. Can you give us?
Obviously, you know, as you said, there's been a commitment, of some funds to the parish. Obviously, with the parish having a purview across the whole parish that covers multiple municipalities, you know, what we've seen in being able to do bond deals for the parish, of course, those resources can be allocated across the parish. But obviously, once you get the guidance from the treasury, and working with your treasurer, when we say the treasurer, the federal treasury, of how you can spend these dollars, it'll give a better deal. What our firm is able to do is, once you all have that information, your treasurer, if we are the firm of choice, we work to kind of structure what that looks like and where those resources may be able to go. But you are correct. We have been getting a lot of calls as municipalities and parishes are seeing that they have dollars coming that they didn't realize coming to their budget by way of the American Rescue Act, and what they may be able to do to address long-standing needs, deferred maintenance, to really further their parish and their community. So, yes, ma'am.
Another question. Once the money has been released, could you come back to us so that we can have the other mayors and other municipalities to come and just see how much money and give us a little bit more information?
Sure, we'll be glad to come back. I think once you all have a better understanding of where those dollars can be spent, I think it will probably be the desire of the council to figure out in your districts what those needs may be and what y'all would want a package to look like. And we'll be happy to come back and talk about what that may be look like, and of course, work with your treasurer on it. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, any other questions? Okay,
Thank y'all so much. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Number 6, the report of the department head, and one of the public works director, Mr. Johnny Floyd.
Thank you, sir. Y'all know you got my report, but just to touch on a couple things. We do have Shady Grove Bridge, Shady Grove South open. We have 8 Mile Loop Bridge open. We have Buster Lewis Bridge open now. We're still working on the Collins Road projects, come along very good. Also, we have made our replacement for Mr. Floyd Von, who will be retiring soon, to Mr. Dustin Knight. And I would like to thank Builder Supply for donating material to fix Cypress Lane.
Where that Shady Grove bridge was out?
Shady Grove South.
Yeah, where the bridge was out. People didn't know it was out, they turned around and this lady.
That's not fast.
Shady Grove. Shady Grove. Okay,
Yeah.
that's what I was at, I didn't know.
There's 2 of them, one is Shady Grove South.
So that is too close.
Yes, John is still close.
We'll talk about that.
We'll be working on
Okay,
it.
I'll talk about that. Okay.
Any questions?
I have a question. Who will be replacing Mr. Bynard?
Dustin Hightower.
And when is Mr. Floyd is leaving? When is he retiring, I should say?
June.
June. Okay. Mr. Johnny, I did get an email from you, that I could call you. Well, I was told not to call, so I didn't want any ethics violations by calling you. But I do have a question, I have 2. I mean, just one, now that you've asked the one about Mr. Floyd. I'm looking at the jobs. District 2, which is my district, and I'm looking at District 3. I only had $4,390.60 of work done in my district. You know, we've always had a good relationship where I can call you. Like I said, I haven't called. But Bermuda Road has been asking for service. It never happened. Opposed to 8,000, and most of your district, Mr. Gibbon, is in the city. And $4,114.84. And I'm just trying to see why we are getting so less in our district right now. Only $4,300 and some dollars spent in that district, and the Moody Road has not even been touched.
But Mr. Kilcoyne had a bad place on Blanford Road that we had to dig out and do it. And the lump sum of that cost is the coal mix that we had to go back with. That was the most expensive material we had to use.
Okay, but, John, my question, again, is, only $4,390. We had 6 jobs, and out of 6 jobs, we only had 4,000. And like I said, Bermuda Road is not even, it's not even in.
Bermuda Road is on our list for this week. I only have one patcher, the others have quit.
So
And,
you have one patcher,
just one, and I have to pull somebody else off of another piece of equipment to go and help him.
how many graders do we have working right now?
We only have 4. One is down.
And is they all on north, south, east, west? Are they
Well, they're-
scattered out like that?
They're scattered out, yes, ma'am. They are.
That's all, and I thank you, you know, like I said, we've always had a good working relationship, I could always call you, but after I was told you couldn't call you at the highway department, I didn't call, because I did not want an ethics violation, just say that I was called.
Who told y'all
It's
y'all
not true, you can call.
You can,
Yeah.
any one of y'all can call my company phone. It's always on.
Okay,
Yes,
well,
ma'am. I've never had a problem.
that's
None of
been
y'all
cleared
call.
up for me tonight, so I can call.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
thank you, I know I've always called in the past and you've always answered,
Yes,
but
ma'am.
I just want to be extra careful.
Any one of y'all five can call me at any given time.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Any other questions? Okay. OCS, regular, Ms. Sharon Harris.
Good evening to everyone. You all received my report. You don't have any questions about the report, but I want to go over a couple of things with you all, also in reference to service delivery. We do deliver services throughout Managed Parish. Managed Parish includes the city limits as well. So not only is just a certain sector is receiving services, everyone that is determined eligible will receive assistance. And everything is based on eligibility of income, number in household, and availability of the funding in that program that they're requesting. So we're gonna look at 2020 cooling. We actually served 52 households and spent $19,350. That's during the month of March. Crisis, we served 42 households and we spent $15,471.41. When I say crisis, that's folks who are facing disconnect, have been disconnected, or have past due amounts. The CARES Act, we received some of that money during the first part of the pandemic. However, we received a small amount of $28,946. And households received, so that's elderly received $600 automatically. So we served at 11 households and $6,600 we spent. That's during the month of March as well. 2021 heating, we had 76,800 we spent on 152 households. So, I mean, as you can see, those are just for energy assistance. It's not just, we're not just about energy assistance, helping them on utility bills. We're there to help folks, and sometimes all folks need to do is just call in, talk. You know, they just need a ear to listen to what's going on with them. And with the pandemic going on, we have received a lot of calls. Folks who thought that they would never need OCS or social services have come to our doors and asked for assistance. So, I mean, the temporary allowance is extended. So it's like they're telling them not to go into the homes at this time. So we're still training them. They're coming in front of our parking lot and we're going outside and doing as much training as possible. So it's going to be.
That's gonna be interesting. Just want to see how those things handle that.
As soon as we get really started with the, program, Mr. Ashia will come back and update you all on that as well.
Thank you.
And that's it. You all have a pamphlet in front of you also, the services we offer. So, this is not only the services we offer, but, there's additional services. So if you all have any questions, concerns, please give us a call. Have your folks that's in your area, if they have any questions or concerns, they can give us a call anytime. We're there.
Okay, the parish treasurer, Ms. Julie Lockhart.
Good evening. You all have received my reports, the check register, posted transactions. I've talked to a few of you this month, but if there's any questions, any concerns, I'd love to help.
Of course, Ms. Julie. I see you looking face for Kathy this time. Kathy, can you, tell us, I just want you to tell us one thing, okay? I want you to tell us, so that we can just have this on record. Please tell us about the compliance with the labor law and the federal and state grants that the Natchitoches Parish Office of Community Service, when we get ready to get to that, changing of the manual, tell us why the labor, about the labor board and the federal state grants. Can you tell us about that? So that we can know.
She's got to do it again later?
No, she's not gonna do it later.
I'm just
She's gonna
asking.
go ahead on and tell us.
Go ahead.
You wanna tell us? Let's see it.
It's for public hearing. Do we want to discuss
Okay.
it now or wait for public hearing?
That's why I'm asking that, because it's something different from what we're gonna discuss later. We need to know what you
Yeah, no problem with
Okay,
it.
thank you. You got any other questions? No. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Julie.
Thank you.
And on executive, no, I ain't sitting in executive, director of planning and design, Mr. David Key.
Sent out the permit report. Did want to let y'all also know that we did send the official notification to IBTS of our intent to publicize for the services we're currently using for them. And we have sent that out and made it public. I think it advertised in the paper on Thursday, and we got it up on the Parish website and Facebook.
David, you got away this time. The question that I was gonna ask, you answered it already. Thank you.
Okay, anybody else have any questions, Keith? Okay. Moving right along, we do have a very, very lengthy, agenda here. Number 7 would be the parish president, Mr. John.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. There are a number of things on the report that are covered further in the agenda tonight. So I'll just kind of do whatever you guys need to as far as questions or concerns on anything that's in the report, but a number of the things will be covered later.
I have. Go ahead, you go
No,
ahead.
I'm fine, go ahead.
Okay. D, the last one, other items. And I do have some input to, interject on the anticipated funds.
Sure.
I'm excited about that 7.5 million. And I'm thinking and praying that that money can be used for roads, for sure. And let me tell you, when I heard about it, this is what I thought about. It's 5 of us. We can get $1 million apiece for our district. And then it'll be $2 million left. And then we can decide later about what we can do with that other $2 million. But we sure can use $1 million, it's 5
because you're exactly right, and as we heard earlier, the guidance hasn't come exactly what it can and can't be used for, but believe me, just like you, we're all making plans and trying to figure out where best we can spend that money and how to spend it, whether that's going for a bond issue or taking it as it comes over the next couple of years. So, yes, ma'am, we're all ready. Thank you.
Okay, number 8 would be adopt the minutes of the regular meeting held of the Parish Council held Monday, March 15th, 2021.
Second?
Mr. Salter?
Yes.
Ms. Kilcorn?
Yes.
Ms. Page?
Yes.
Mrs. Hoover?
Yes.
Mr. Cheekwood?
Yes.
Pass.
Okay, number 9 would be appointment of board and commission. Consider adopting a resolution confirming appointments to the following boards and commissions. A, the council to approve reappointing Mr. Troy Gardner to the fire district number 9.
I'll offer.
Mr. Salter?
Yes.
Mr. Cheekwood?
Yes.
Ms. Page?
Yes.
Mr. Kilcorn?
Yes.
Mrs. Hoover?
Yes.
Pass.
B, the council to approve the reappointment of Mr. Lonnie Trichelle to the fire district number 9 board.
I'll offer.
I'll second.
Mr. Kilcorn?
Yes.
Mrs. Hoover?
Yes.
Mr. Page?
Yes.
Mr. Cheekwood?
Yes.
Mr. Salter?
Yes.
Pass.
Let me ask, is any of those persons here? That are being appointed? Or reappointed?
Anything else? Okay. Number C, council to approve appointing Mr. Aubrey Graves to replace Mr. Cecil Wayne Ebert on the fire district board number 9.
I'll offer that one. Second?
Who offered it?
Ms. Hoover.
Ms. Hoover offered, John second.
Okay. Mrs. Hoover?
Yes.
Mr. Salter?
Yes.
Mr. Page?
Yes.
Mr. Kilcorn?
Yes.
Mr. Cheekwood?
Yes.
Pass.
Okay, now these are first introduction of proposed ordinance. And I believe these are the ones that we don't have great discussion on, we just vote up or down on each one. Okay, and A, an introduction of ordinance 007, 2021, allowing the residents of Parish Parish to vote and make their own decision on whether they want to remain or repeal the current form of government, home rule charter, or go back to the police jury form of government.
Need an offer?
Yes.
I'll offer.
I'll second.
Mr. Salter?
Yes.
Mrs. Hoover?
Yes.
Mr. Kilcorn?
Yes.
Mr. Cheekwood? Mr. Page?
Yes.
Pass.
B, an introduction of ordinance 008, 2021 to effect the zone change for an industrial agriculture district to a B3 district for the purpose of establishing a gymnasium on a 2.52 acre tract of land, parcel number 00102111100. The property is located in section 40, township 9 north, range 8 west, with the physical address of 1386 Highway 504 in Natchitoches, as shown on the survey attached hereto, approved by the Parish Planning and Zoning Commission on April 5th, 2021.
So offered.
Mr. Salter?
Yes.
Mr. Cheekwood?
Yes.
Mr. Page?
Yes.
Mr. Kilgore?
Yes.
Mrs. Hoover?
Yes.
Pass.
Receive an introduction of an ordinance 009/2021 to effect the zone change from a city district to a B3 district for the purpose of establishing a restaurant with liquor sales on a 0.936 acre tract of land, parcel number 009010110. Let me do that again. Parcel number 00901011000. The property is located in section 85, township 8 north, range 6 west, with the physical boundaries on 1211 Patrick Road in Natchitoches, as shown on the survey attached hereto, approved by the Parish Planning Commission on April 5th, 2021.
So offered.
Mr. Salter?
Yes.
Mr. Cheekwood?
Yes.
Mr. Page?
Yes.
Mr. Kilgore?
Yes.
Mrs. Hoover?
Yes.
Pass.
D, council to consider introducing ordinance 010/2021, providing the leveling within the sales tax district number 1 of the Parish of Natchitoches, State of Louisiana, effective July the 1st, 2021, of a 1% sales and the use tax having been authorized as a special election held in the district on April 24th, 2021, and final adoption on May 17th, 2021.
I'll offer. Second.
Mr. Kilgore?
Yes.
Mr. Salter?
Yes.
Mr. Page?
Yes.
Mrs. Hoover?
Yes.
Mr. Cheekwood?
Yes.
Pass.
Now we're going to hearings. And,
Not offer to
We're
go
gonna-
to public hearing.
we're gonna do, let me read them first, and then we'll decide to go into them, so people know what you're going into. A would be council to consider adopting ordinance 005/2021, authorizing the Natchitoches Parish President to enter into negotiation of a Preston polling place building to the landowners in exchange of indemnity and hold harmless from any cause of action asserted as the result of condition or structure of the building. That's A. B, council to consider adopting ordinance 006/2021, revisions of the Natchitoches Parish Personnel Policy.
I offer to go into public hearing.
I'll second.
Mrs. Hoover?
Yes.
Mr. Salter?
Yes.
Mr. Page?
Yes.
Mr. Kilgore?
Yes.
Mr. Cheekwood?
Yes.
It's open.
Okay. Now, you want to go to A first? Let's take on A. If anybody got any questions about the polling place and,
Chairman,
Yes.
I received a letter
okay.
this afternoon, finance committee officer, and the person due to COVID is wanting to be read. It say to the Natchitoches Parish Police Jurors, read monthly meeting Monday, April 19th, 2021. I see on the agenda for the Monday council meeting that the jury members will
decide whether or not to donate the Creston polling place. Donate means no exchange of money or free where I come from. I have a few questions that I would like to answer during public hearing since I cannot attend due to COVID. To whom will this building be donated? Who paid for this building? What condition is the building? If it is in unusable condition, why give it away? If it was my building and in deplorable condition, the parish has an ordinance that would be tear it down, correct? So how can you give away this building either way? Has a new location for voters been secured? How much money was spent on maintenance performed on this building that will be given away? I drove by to look at the building and it looks like it has new gutters and some trim on the outside of the building that was recently added. How much did that cost the taxpayers? So why upgrade if you are planning to give the building away? Whose cousin is getting this building? How do I get about applying for parish property that is not being used and ask for it to be donated? I seem to recall that a community center was on the agenda due to it being in hard condition and the church was asking for the building to be torn down. Some citizens wanted to upgrade the building and take it over for a center. The council was asking for plans and cost estimates and proof the community could come up with the funds to perform those upgrades. How is this situation differently? Sincerely, a concerned parish resident, taxpaying resident.
A taxpayer with no name?
They have a name to it?
No name on the letter and no return. This is how, I'm gonna pass it around, this is how it came to me.
The reason they come back, we don't know that either.
We don't know nothing about it, but they have some questions. Oh, can I be recognized?
Go ahead.
No name on a letter that's sent, addressed to the council, and she has some, whoever has some legit questions, but how do you respond to a no name?
Well,
Is that your district? Who district is it? Okay, so can you tell us anything about this building? She had some, they had some legit questions that we don't know to address, so maybe we just say it openly, and then the public, I don't want to see it, we can say it publicly, and that way whoever can hear it, it'll go on record that we did address it as a council.
Mr. Richmond, do you know many more about this than what's?
Yes, sir, I do.
Okay, would you please address it?
Sure, hopefully this will clear the air on this. This is the, thank you, Sheriff. This is the old Creston polling place. It was in deplorable condition. We haven't seen it in forever. There is a new polling place that has been secured for the people in Creston. So that was done for the fall election, I believe. And so the building was sitting there. We would have to condemn it. We would have to tear it down due to mold and water issues. And it was in bad shape. It sits on a piece of property owned by Mr. Ernest Self and his wife. And so they asked what we plan to do with the building. And we would have to go on his property to tear down that building that we owned on property that he had. And so he said, can I have it? And it's certainly of no value to us, given that it would have cost more to tear it down or do anything to fix the mold, even the mold issues, than the building was worth. And so that's the improvements that have been made were made at no cost to us. Mr. Self, I didn't even know these improvements had been made. He must have done those on his own. Certainly there's no transactions, there's no cost, there's no dollars associated coming from the parish at all.
Well, thank you so much.
So we're actually turning it over to Mr. Self.
That's correct.
And it's on his property, you say?
And it's on his property.
It's on his property.
And he said, so we will have something written to come before us from a legal
And that's,
Where would we stand from a legal
That's
standpoint?
what they said, Hans been in Italy and Hans, old Hans has been through that. We won't be held for any, on that, correct?
That's right.
And I understand that, but at a legal point, and I guess my question to you, from a legal point, we are donating something that once belonged to us. But to have our hands clean of everything, then how do we write up something to say that we have no liability, turning it over to Mr. Self, not just a whole, landowner, and we turn it over to them? How do we go about it without, because we don't want any liability? It's easy for me to give a verbal to say, oh, if you give me this, then, I don't want to do this, but then if something happens,
But I
then
think,
what happen?
but I think, Ms. Hoover, that's what this is addressing, the fact that once we do this, it's done. We have no more. Okay, well, Mr. Hoover, can you answer this? Let's move on.
It's in your.
I know it is, but answer for her, please.
It's in the package, and it says to Mr.
It's
Stout,
in the information that was provided to the council members.
and it's to Mr. Stout, and it has Mr. Stout's name in it.
This is the ordinance that's presented to the board, and in the ordinance, the document itself has not been prepared.
Okay, the document, that's what I'm looking for, the document. Okay.
The document hasn't been prepared, it's before the council to approve the donation of the property, and in the ordinance, it has that the donation of the building to the landowner will be in exchange for indemnity and home harmless from any causative action asserted as a result of the condition or structure.
So once the document is prepared, does that document come back to the council? Because if I'm doing something and you're doing a document, I want to know what that document says that I'm supposed to do.
No, I think this is the vote tonight, and this, once we do this, we won't have to see this again or anything like that. This was, from my understanding, is that correct? I thought that's the way it's always been. Well, if you want to see it after the final draft, that's on you.
Well, the
I'm
council
just telling you.
we can vote.
Well,
And
exactly.
I just made my statement as to, where I stand as
Exactly.
one councilman.
Okay, that's what we're in public hearing for. Anybody else want to add to, take away from anybody? Or else we can move on to B. Okay,
B.
B. Anybody got any questions about B? I think, is that the one you had a question, Ms. Hoover? Okay.
Yes, so I believe what Ms. Hoover is asking is, some of the grants, that we service through the parish, we have employees that work for those grants. Currently in the personnel manual, throughout the manual, it refers to grant employees as differently than parish employees. That is not the case. All employees are all employees. So in this change, what is proposing is to remove any verbiage that points to grant employees and singles those out to be treated any differently than other parish employees. So a highway department employee will be treated the same as an OCS employee, the same as a health unit employee, the same as a general fund employee. So that the verbiage, we will all be parish employees, no singling out of grant employees or anything else, because that is what makes us consistent. Okay.
But we only did that when we had Head Start, right?
We had that with Head Start, but it translated into other grants and other things also, and throughout the manual, you can't count how many references there are to grant employees. So I just am proposing to remove those, because we all are parish employees, not, we all follow the manual, so it'll be consistent.
I just wanted it clear because.
I understand. I spoke to Ms. Hoover about the manual, and, once the changes are approved tonight, anything that is approved, I will redo the entire manual and provide all of the council a new copy of the manual as it will be. And, like I said, all of the changes are anywhere in the manual that it refers to grants will be removed, and then there are the additional, changes that are written out specifically here. And there has been a request under 2.8 to remove J from the final ordinance. So that will be removed if so asked. Any other questions?
Anybody got any other questions?
Yeah, I do. What is that? What is that, Jay? Would you read that?
Sure. J says, to prevent the disruption of parish functions, the parish president may appoint an acting or interim in any key position that becomes vacant. And that's just to build upon the letter that is above it in 2.8. In 2.8, it says emergency appointments are those appointments in which a result of an unexpected vacancy arises. These appointments may be made without regard to normal hiring as described above. So I added J to say that we could do an interim appointment, or the parish president could do an interim appointment, because emergency appointments let us go outside of the guidelines to hire. But if we could do an interim appointment, then we could still follow the guidelines to hire a permanent
So
position.
J is an addition.
It's an addition,
Okay.
yes.
Thank you for clarifying.
But it can be removed, and if you wish to have it removed, whenever it comes time to make the nomination, just as 2.8J, and I will remove it from the ordinance.
Thank you.
Okay. Call for close the, public hearing.
Mr. Salter?
Yes.
Mr. Page?
Ms. Hoover, second.
Ms. Hoover? Mr. Salter?
Yes.
Mrs. Hoover? Mr. Page?
Yes.
Mr. Kilcorn?
Yes.
Mr. Cheekwood?
Yes.
Action on proposed ordinance.
I'll offer A.
Okay.
Mr. Salter?
Yes.
Mr. Cheekwood?
Yes.
Mr. Page?
Yes.
Mr. Kilcorn?
Yes.
Mrs. Hoover?
No.
Pass.
I'll offer B.
And in making that offer, I would like to, remove J.
What are we doing? We are on the table, we're talking about B, J, not M.
J.
Well,
She's talking about that specific 2.8, J.
do that need to be amended or something?
It just needs to be said that it needs to be removed, and then we can vote on it, and.
But that's-
yes.
That's not what,
No, I think that you get
confusing.
Right here.
Okay, so
We're going
from what I
to,
understand, Mr. Salter has said he would like to approve it as it reads. Ms. Hoover would like it to read, would like it to pass minus 2.8J. That's what she's
but you
asking.
said you were gonna come on. and do
I
that.
can remove it, but as it's written and how it was presented, I didn't know that J needed to be removed until after it was sent out. So in order to remove J, if the recommendation is made just to pass everything minus 2.8J, then I can remove J.
And it won't make a real difference.
It won't make a real difference to me.
Well,
So,
let me get clarity because, first, Mr. Salter.
Correct. I'm not talking about
And so we
parliamentary
need to
procedure.
go through that, and then Ms. Hoover, if she wanna change it, she need to amend it to say the wording that she needs to say it. But right now, we need to go ahead and vote the way it is on the
Mr.
paper.
Salter has made a motion.
Mr. Salter has made his motion.
Salter made a motion.
Okay. Mr. Salter?
Yes.
Mr. Cheekwood? Now,
We didn't
Chairman
really say,
Chairman with
See,
C, wait, Chairman with C, Mr. Keys asked to put that back on because he said it already went through public hearing and y'all put it on the table. So I guess you have to take it off the table and vote on it.
My understanding, there was some questions about maybe the actual acreage and what you can clarify.
Last time we talked.
That's right.
okay. Yes, sir, I was satisfied with everything I need to find out. I'm ready to take action on it.
C, council to approve adoption ordinance 003/2021 to effect the zone change industrial agriculture district to a D3 district for the purpose of establishing a gym with a restaurant and a coffee shop on a 1.350 acre tract of land. Parcel number is 00501347008. The property is located in section 20T9N.
26.
Oh, I'm sorry, 26, that's, go back. The property is located in section 26, T9N, R10W, with the physical address of 10173 Highway 120 in Roebeline, as shown on the survey attached here to, approved by the Parish Planning Commission on February the 1st, 2021.
I'll offer motion to take it off the table.
Mr. Salter,
Yes.
Mr. Cheatwood,
Yes.
Mr. Page,
Yes.
Mr. Kilcorn,
Yes.
Mrs. Hoover,
Yes.
it's off the table.
I'll offer it as form of motion.
Okay. Mr. Salter,
Yes.
Mr. Cheatwood,
Yes.
Mr. Page,
Yes.
Mr. Kilcorn,
Yes.
Mrs. Hoover,
Yes.
pass.
All right, thank you. Resolutions. Council to approve levying the same millage roll forward for the 2020-21 tax year. Mr. Page is here with us. Good to see you. Would you like to make a comment about it?
Well, thank you for the council for having me, and I'll try to answer some questions that may help y'all make a decision. With the health unit, right now, you are currently levying 2.94 mills. It's on the sheet that I handed out to you. And at that rate, you're receiving about $1,129,137.09. But however, if you roll forward to the 3 mills, you would receive $1,152,180.70, which would be an additional $23,043.61 for the health unit. Then with the library, you're currently levying 7.85 mills, bringing in $3,014,872.83. If you roll to the 8 mills, you would bring in $3,072,481.87, an additional $57,609.04 for the library.
That'd be the max on it as well as your health unit?
Yes, that is, in all cases here, the max is 3 mills for the health unit, 8 mills for the library. And then the public buildings would be a max of 3 mills. You're currently levying 2.94 mills, bringing in $1,129,137.09. With 3 mills, if you roll forward, it would bring in $1,152,180.70. And again, additional $23,043.61 for public buildings. Exempt municipalities, you're currently levying 1.70 mills, bringing in $204,463.34. And if you roll forward to the 1.73 mills, you would bring in $208.71.51, an additional $3,608.17 for exempt municipalities. And then general alimony, you're currently levying 3.41 mills, bringing in $899,516. And if you roll forward to the 3.47 mills, you would bring in $915,343.26. And then if you look over there, if you add all of those together, you would get $123,131.69 additional monies. Now you could, in this case, you have this year, next year, into 2023 where you can roll forward. If you don't roll forward, then your current levy will be your maximum millage going forward. And these numbers here, this additional monies, if you roll forward now, you could basically time it by 3, because it would be for 2021, 2022, and 2023. And then 2024 is a reassessment year where the legislative auditor will roll the millage. If the budget is larger, she will roll the millage down again. But if you don't roll forward by 2023, then your current levy is going to be your maximum levy.
Okay, Tim, we don't have District 40 on here because it's high that can go, but we still got to levy that too, as well.
You have to set it. You don't roll forward. The only ones that you can roll forward are the ones on this list.
Roll forward and levy.
Yeah. Yes, sir. But you will have to set Road District 40, yes.
Right.
But you can't roll it forward because you rolled it forward last year.
Well, I mean, do we need to, are we doing this tonight?
Well, I think you're introducing it tonight.
Okay, so.
But I mean, if you roll forward, you have to advertise in the paper with a 2x4 ad 2 times, and then it has to be 30 days out to your meeting. You have to be 30 days ahead of your meeting with those 2 ads in the paper. And those ads will say the additional amount that you're going to receive, and then it will be, you'll count out 30 days from the last time it's advertised in the paper to your meeting. And that would be when you would actually vote to roll forward. You will have to have 2/3 of the council voting yes for it to pass.
Miss Julie, do you have on hand how much, for instance, the library has today's date on hand? Do you have what the health unit has on hand right now?
Cash in the bank?
Yes.
I don't have it with me.
Okay. I think that should play a role in the decision. And Mr. Richmond, as a parish president, I think some communication needs to be with these entities to see if they have a plan for like a new library or something. We don't want to take away from them if they're planning to put a library somewhere else out in the rural areas. If they're planning, I don't know, I'm asking.
Would you like, I know the answer to that.
Okay, go ahead. I mean,
Yeah, they publicly stated, the library board's plans are unchanged. And that is, their intention is that their next library that they would open would be in the rural parts of the parish. I don't know that it's certainly not finalized, but they're looking for something in the Hagewood area. And so I do know that that is their plan to move forward.
Julie, Mr. Lockhart, surplus amounts by the time we get ready to vote and what each one of these can be used for, other than
Yeah.
whatever fund they're in? Can you do that for us?
Before the next meeting?
Yeah, that sounds good. Because, I mean, it doesn't make sense if we were gonna roll something up and they sitting with $4 or $5 million and don't know what to do with what they got there. I mean, you know, it's just common sense to kind of say we're not, and normally that's what people used to do that serve. They said, hey, I'm not gonna put that on my people unless I know they need it that. But that's up to each one of you guys.
My question is, okay, if you don't do it tonight, you plan on doing it at the next meeting, can it be done at the next meeting?
Well, that's,
Well, it needs to all be done before the end of September, so, I mean, the sooner the better. You get the ads in the paper is gonna be to your advantage. You don't wanna wait to the last minute
Yeah.
to do it. So it would be good if y'all could maybe make a decision before the next meeting anyway.
Mr. Chairman, it's on the agenda tonight is to approve the resolution to
Yeah.
levy the millage. So if you take action on what's on the agenda tonight, I think you approve.
Can you hear what he said?
and the way it's listed on the agenda, Ms. Roy, is that we are to vote tonight to levy it as it is. Not to wait, basically. But if we have a time frame, I mean, there's nothing, what just the word is here, we can vote to table. If there's not a time frame that's pressing us to where we have to do it, is what I'm saying. But you said September?
Well, that's when we're gonna stop making any changes, so you would have to, at that point, have had it in the paper, waited 30 days, had your meeting to roll forward.
Yeah.
Now, yes, on all of these millages, you have to set them. You have to do that or you will not get any funds. So you have to set them first, and then you roll forward the ones that you're gonna roll forward. But you absolutely have to set all of them. And that, you have to, just to set them, you have to agree to do it, and then you have to put a notice on your building that you're going to do it. You know, the date and the time and the place that you're going to set the millages. And that has to be 24 hours on your building, an exception of weekends and holidays. 24 hours on your building saying that you're going to set the millages.
So we don't have any way of knowing if we need any money anywhere, so what do we need to do, council?
Can't do anything tonight.
Can you, so can we just have a special meeting and you don't have to have one?
No.
What he's saying is that if y'all decide what y'all wanna do, you talk to the people within this month and get the answers to, like, if the library, if they wanna roll forward or remain the same, or the other ones y'all wanna talk to, you can do it in May, but I have to count out 30 days
Right, I got you.
in order to have it. What he's saying is that we can't do it in August in order to have it done for September, because they cut off in September. So you got May and June to work with.
Once you decide that you're going to roll forward, you put your ads in the paper. It would either be like a Thursday paper and then a weekend paper, and then count 30 days out to your meeting.
I actually just brought that up because that's what we used to do, basically to say if they had, which at certain times they had enormous amounts of money, they did not need any additional monies, and that's what we would do. So now, I don't know if that, and I know they're really not hurting from knowing where the numbers are personally. I know they're not in no bind, but
I mean,
we'd like to be for sure
last
if they
year
don't
we
have
went
any
for
other
this.
projects. That's what I'm thinking.
When we decided to, when y'all voted to roll forward just on Road District 40, the libraries said that they were interested.
Yeah, and then they had additional monies to come anyway.
Yeah.
from-
So,
from
I
other
guess
projects.
put together a comparison and we can look at it that way. Just these funds that'll be affected by these are everything
Yeah.
but the highway fund. It'll be the general fund.
Well, I think we got a long agenda. I think the best thing to do, we should do council, is basically table this tonight and then bring it up, because we have a time frame.
I make a
We do have
motion
time.
that we table it.
Second.
Okay.
Mrs. Hoover,
Yes.
Mr. Salter,
Yes.
Mr. Page,
Yes.
Mr. Kilcorn,
Yes.
Mr. Cheatwood,
Yes.
it's tabled.
Okay. And thank you, Mr. Page, for coming. Please feel free to come back.
You're very welcome.
Okay, thank you. B, council to approve resolution for the Clark Road Bridge, that the parish of Natchez through the parish, the Natchez Parish Council requests DOTD consideration of the design exception for the following modification to the remaining planned work on the project. Number one, termination of the tangent approach guardrails at the southwest corner of the new bridge at the point at which there is no conflict with the existing water main. And additional section of guardrail curving westward away from the new constructed roadway in order to provide protection for irritant vehicles that might otherwise strike the concrete pole supporting the high volt electric transmission line located there, or might otherwise enter Bayou Bulbridge at that location. Mr. Barrett, would you come forward and do a little more explain? I know that your word is here. Number two would be eliminate the guardrails that was planned for installation along the west side of the new roadway at the new cross drain structure that is installed at Project Station 13.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. What we're asking you to do tonight is to basically approve a design waiver request to DOTD to alter the plans that were the work that was planned for the Clark Road Bridge Replacement Project. Basically, because there's a water main owned by the Village of Clarence that's actually the location of it is interfering with some of the completion of the remaining work. We're asking you to approve the design waiver request that I have outlined that was included in your packet. It's a form that looks like this. I assume that was put in your packet. And basically I as the parish engineer am requesting or recommending these design waivers, which basically, instead of putting a normal approach guardrail on the southwest corner of the new bridge, we're asking basically that there be a guardrail put there that basically flares away from the roadway. It was not part of the planned guardrail details, but it is a detail that DOTD has used on past projects where you have, for an example, an intersection in close proximity to the end of the bridge. So it's something that's been used before. It's not like we're coming out with some brand new guardrail design. And then in place of also a guardrail was planned at the end of a new cross-drain structure on the west side of the new roadway there. And we're asking there, and again, the guardrail is going to conflict with the water line that's there. Because the Village of Clarence does not have the funding to move the water line, we're just asking for these modifications in order to finish the project and still have safety to the motoring public that drives through. So we're asking you to adopt a resolution that I drafted, basically twofold. Number one, asking that you accept the design waivers that I'm recommending in the design waiver request form. and then that you authorize the parish president to execute this design waiver request form.
And that is a request to DOTD.
And this request will be sent to DOTD for them to, once we adopt this and they review and approve this request, then the modifications will be made so that the project can be completed. Yes, sir.
And number 3, I didn't get to number 3, that's to install center lines and edge line pavement marking with reflectors, raised pavement marked along the center line on both bridge approaches. Along with installation of a chevron sign along the west edge of the new road at the aforementioned cross drain in order to improve visibility for traffic approaching the new bridge.
Yes. Yes.
So this is at no cost to the.
This is at no cost to the parish. That in fact, even to the overall project, this should be a cost savings to the project to implement this.
And possibly save lives too.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
I have a question. Mr. Barrett, how long have you been working, on this construction of the bridge?
I really haven't been.
How many years?
Oh, I haven't been involved in really the ongoing project. I really became involved when this issue came up.
So, how long have you worked on this bridge?
How long have I worked on this bridge? Really the last month.
Okay, the last month, but this bridge has been in construction for a number of years. 'Cause I
It's been in
remember
construction for a while.
At least 4 years myself. We talked about the
I'm
same
sure that was
bridge.
4 years, but it's been.
Yeah. How much have the parish invested into this bridge?
The parish has zero cost invested into the bridge. Under the federal off-system bridge replacement program, all the funds are federal funds. They pass through DOTD, and there's no local match required by the parish. The only investment the parish makes in these projects is we are responsible for acquiring rights of way, which in this particular case, we were able to do by just acts of donation. The property owners donated. And then if there's any costs associated with utility relocations, the parish would bear those expenses too.
Okay, say that again, I didn't hear you say it a little bit louder.
Okay, the parish's responsibility in the federal off-system bridge replacement program is to acquire rights of way, basically, and to assure that utilities are clear of the proposed construction.
Question answered?
Yes.
Anything else?
I do.
Okay.
What about this change order?
That's for the Payne subdivision project, that's on the agenda.
Not with this.
Yeah.
No.
All right.
We need a motion.
Hello?
Mr. Salter?
Yes.
Mr. Chiefwood?
Yes.
Mr. Page?
Yes.
Mr. Kilgore?
Yes.
Ms. Hoover?
Yes. But you can pay, I thought you all to pay for it. Now, that took care of all 3 of these? Okay.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Red, and thank you to the state for this out there. Okay. Number 11 now. We other agenda items. Council to consider discussing about the Payne subdivision sewer dissolved. Board dissolved, being dissolved, I'm sorry.
I asked to have this put on there where we could decide if we want to keep that board since we don't have any money to do anything out there. Or is it where we got, what's gonna fall back on us if something does go wrong with the sewer that's there now, or we're gonna be responsible? Can we, at a later date, if we happen to get a grant, form another board? Anybody have an answer to these?
Mr. Salter, with, I guess have a legal mind answer. If Mr. Mensur, can you answer just simply, we can dissolve a board at any time, I understand that, we all do that, we all understand that, but can you us a reason why it would be in our best interest to keep the board intact. I guess that's the question, in a sense.
Mr. Chairman, it's ultimately the council's decision whether you want to dissolve the board or dissolve at a later date. One of the issues of the creation of the board is that they take act themselves on behalf of the board, which could include to sue or be sued. So there's some level of protection in the sense that if the board is no longer in existence, then they can't be sued. If likewise the board wants to pursue legal action, if they've been dissolved, then that board can no longer pursue legal action. If there's any discussion between the board in this particular case concerning Payne Stewart subdivision in Tessie, then if the board chooses to proceed with litigation, they can only do so if they're still in existence. If the board is dissolved and a decision is made to pursue litigation, then presumably the board could be recreated or another board could be created and they can proceed. I don't know all the facts about what the current status is with Payne's subdivision, so I can't answer it specifically.
But, you know, to me, I mean, it's no cost to us to leave them intact. For as any grants or anything like that, the grant that they received, I think that if someone can file some litigation against the reneging of the monies that was on the table with this plan that they had, it maybe give them some validity to seek some legal action. I'm not sure, I'm not on that board, but the chairperson, they called me about that as well. But I think at the time, it's just like any other board to give them an opportunity to seek, and I do believe they have, you know, some interest in seeking. Ms. Hoover?
Yes. Everybody has stated what their opinion is, and mine is simply this. Why would we continue with the board? We set up the board, this council set up the board. Why would we continue with the board when the council has said to Tessa, we no longer have any dealings with Tessa, we no longer have any dealings with the money, is that correct?
That's correct.
So if we have washed our hands of everything, why would we have a board that we still attached to? It doesn't take a rocket scientist to see that. You know, what's the purpose of the council? It just doesn't make sense.
You're saying a board that we're attached to, we haven't gave one penny, we have never gave water.
We are the body that set that board up.
I understand that, Ms. Hoover. I mean, and it's a lot of things that we don't want to get into discussion with, Ms. Hoover, because you deny them the opportunity of fighting in a lawsuit.
But Chris,
because in certain things, we just ought not even enter. And it doesn't, but the responsibility of the county council should be not to become a part of a lawsuit. So if you show this community, if you show the community that you stand with the board, you are showing that you support their endeavor. And by backing up at this point, in a sense, saying that, hey, we're not going to support their endeavor to seek a lawsuit against Tessie, if they were to seek one.
Chris, we have watched everything. Do you understand that we no longer have...
Mr. Chairman, may I?
Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you. The sewer board, the sewer district and the board was created by an ordinance. I don't remember the number.
Yeah.
But it was created by ordinance. So even if the council wanted to take action to dissolve the board? Wouldn't it take another ordinance to undo the?
Well, but, again, I understand exactly what you're saying, but, you know.
No, I'm not saying
Well, no, I'm just saying simply, the much as we talk about that is doing that community no good.
Mr. Page, I understand that.
I mean, but you say you understand, but then they come back with a whole nother scenario that wipes everything away. And it's just kind of, it doesn't matter if it was in my district, your district, anyone's district. We should show the people of this parish that we support them and not some company.
Mr.
who
Page,
reneges on that type of deal.
Mr. Page,
Okay.
please.
Go ahead.
I was merely pointing out that the council cannot take action tonight regardless, because we'd have to go through the ordinance process. Okay. That said, I support keeping allowing the board to continue to give them time to do something. I don't know if there's a reasonable time frame, into the calendar year, 6 months, indefinitely. So my position is to allow the Payne subdivision sewer district and board to continue to exist. But I just wanted to point out that it would take an ordinance to undo it.
Thank you, Mr.
So you're,
Okay.
is that correct? We would have to go with the ordinance, so we can,
Well,
the ordinance have to come forth at the next meeting.
it can come at the next meeting or whenever, whoever wants to put it on there, Ms. Hoover.
Well, are we going to set a time limit on it? If we're not, we don't need to do anything.
That's correct.
Well, I'm asking for the people that's out there, give them an opportunity. What is it to say that we dissolve board? I mean, we're not doing anything. They're not, I mean, they're trying to stand.
I'm also, Mr. Page, may I please?
Go ahead.
Isn't there also a current water district, number 1 or number 2 or something in the parish that the past police jury created, and it's still officially, right? So that one was never dissolved. It's a water district or something. Yeah, there's.
No, that was a sewer district, Mr. Kilgore.
Oh, was that a sewer district? Okay, I'm sorry.
That's over by Cinder Lakes, yeah.
Right, you're right.
That's over
So, you're
Cinder
correct,
Lakes,
it was.
where you're talking about.
Yeah.
But the matter's been discussed. If someone want to bring it back up next month, you're free to do so. Mr. Salter, you have any more discussion?
No, I just want to bring it out.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. Okay. B, council to consider authorizing the parish president to advertise for RSPs for redistricting for the census change for the parish of Natchitoches.
Well, we know that this is the year that we've got to start getting our census reports together, check the lines for all of our districts, to make sure that we're in compliance with Department of Justice. We've had one person come, and this is to advertise for anybody else that's interested in coming before us and bringing us a success rate on what they've done.
And cost as well. Well, I'll make a motion that we authorize the parish president to request RFPs.
I'll second.
Mr. Kilgore?
Yes?
Mr. Salter?
Yes.
Mr. Page?
Yes.
Mrs. Hoover?
Yeah.
Mr. Cheatwood?
Yes.
Pass.
Council to consider approving resolution 017-2021 to send the Louisiana Board of Ethics and to the Louisiana Auditor for ruling on the purchase of a front-end loader.
I make an offer.
Second.
Mrs. Hoover?
Yeah.
Mr. Salter?
Yes.
Mr. Page?
No.
Mr. Kilgore?
Yes?
Mr. Cheatwood? Pass.
Okay. D, council to allow testing use of a permazine soil stabilization product on approximately 1/3 mile location location to be determined on Parish Road. Parmesan material and application oversight will be provided at no charge to the Natchez Parish government. The Natchez Parish government will be responsible for necessary labor and equipment for Parmesan material application.
I would definitely make an offer, hallelujah.
You have somebody here?
I got are we fixing to have a presentation on this?
Mr. Chairman, if it's okay, these are two constituents. We were all kind of looking for options, and while they're coming to the mic, I'll say this, we were all kind of looking for options to help our roads, lower cost options, anything that'll work. And these two gentlemen were doing research and found the Parmesan product and began talking to us about it. Little did I know they were also talking to the manufacturer while I was talking to the manufacturer too. So I'll let them go ahead and state, I'm sure a lot of our information is duplicate.
First of all, thank you. My name is Joe Gibbons, and this is my cousin, Joe Osborne. Again, like Mr. Richmond stated, we're just constituents. I'm by no means a civil engineer. My discipline is in electrical engineering. But basically, we got tired of hearing that we have no money, no money. That's the issue, it seems like, no money. And every time you go out there and put stuff on the roads, it seems like a month later, 2 months later, it washes off. So we had to come up with a way, instead of complaining about it, because we're not here to point fingers at anybody. You know, I mean, it's really easy to sit back and say, well, it's your fault, not be part of the organization, and not really know what's going on behind the scenes. So instead of coming here tonight and complaining, we're going to come here tonight and possibly offer a solution for Mr. Szilard and some of your districts to finally get something on the road that won't wash. Now, I've been speaking, like Mr. Richmond said, I've been speaking to some of the representatives. I've actually called some of the people that actually use this stuff, the road directors in Abilene, Texas, in Utah. And I have a sample here for all of you to feel. This is mud. This is a 52% clay pup they sent me that's been treated with Parmesan. It's 13 times stronger than the actual mud itself. And this stuff, I also have an MFDS sheet. It has zero impact on the environment. Zero. And you can make copies of this, and you guys can look it over. For any of you engineering types out there that understand covalent bonds and ionic bonds, here is the engineering sheet on it that will also show you how it works. Now, I started looking at some of these costs, and I was floored when I found out that the road department actually only operates on approximately $3 million, correct me if I'm wrong, $3 million a year budget. Wow. And I started to look at some of the costs of actual overlaying roads today, and I based my information off of a little small section they did on Highway 478, which was 5.2 miles, which was actually, it cost $2.8 million to do 5 miles.
How much?
$2,807,000 to be exact, to do only 5 miles. That was the grind, shoulders, and the overlay. And that was it. But if you were to do the whole 818,000 miles of road in Natchez Parish, I mean, it would cost you $441 million. It would take you 147 years to attain that. I mean, that's how staggering the problem is with our roads out here. So we got together. My cousin found this stuff. Said, hey, man, look, this looks like something we could possibly put to use. And if this stuff works like they say it does, I've called the representative. She said they can actually take this stuff to patch holes with. I mean, the binders, it can be used in all different applications. You can take different binders and put in with it. It makes it stronger. There is a highway in Utah that right now has chip seal on it, been there for 30 years without potholes. This stuff doesn't pothole, it doesn't washboard, it doesn't wash away. And in fact, a lot of third world countries use this stuff for roads. And the cost is right around $6,000 a mile versus the $539,000 a mile you have to use to overlay these days. So, again, I would like to thank you all for the opportunity to come up here to present you with just a little information that I have. And hopefully you guys can use this in some of your districts. Joe?
I found it because, like you said, there's gotta be a solution. We can complain all day, but it don't get nowhere. We have to have a solution, and when I found this stuff and researched it, looked into it, I'm gonna do my driveway. Because if this stuff's like what they claim it is, that's gonna fix my driveway, because every time it rains, it washes out. So I thought if it's gonna work on my driveway, why not use it parish-wide? The money saving that it's gonna give, and when this is done, you can run down the road in a car and it doesn't put off a big dust cloud. There's no dust. I talked to the lady today and said, okay, what about a loaded truck going down this road? 90,000-pound log truck. As long as you give it the 3-day cure time after it's done, that truck can go down that road and it's not gonna tear it up. Because I do, that's one of the important factors of everybody, that when I watch all the comments and the discussions going on, they talk about the log trucks. Yeah, 90,000-pound truck, it's gonna tear up an asphalt road. I drove a truck for several years, cross country. I've been on dirt roads and cattle trucks. I don't know if they were done with Parmesan, but I've drove on dirt roads in a loaded truck that are better than some of the paved roads in Louisiana and Arkansas and other states. You know, we're not the only state that's dealing with this. But our main concern is Nagany Parish.
Mr. Richmond? Didn't we hear about the demonstration for us?
Yes.
I'm asking about the sample. He's getting ready to talk about maybe possibly a sample. And I'm just wondering, can we have a model, and this is what we can use to Mr. President, can we have maybe one road in the parish that we could use as a model for it to go on? And if so, can I ask? Can be used,
Ms. Hoover, it's a great point. That's actually what's being presented today.
Yeah. One Joe lived on.
Yeah, I think in all fairness, one of these guys, they want to come up with this.
Joe's, yeah, his is really bad. You have to have at least 13% clay in the road base.
So this isn't a magic bullet, and I'll tell you, whenever these gentlemen called me, I was doing my research, they're doing theirs. I said, let's do this totally independent. Let's not even talk to each other. Let's just go forward and let's see what we find out. Let's see what we get out of this from an information standpoint. And exactly what you just mentioned is what's in your packet tonight. Parmesan has agreed, and they've actually offered. It wasn't an agreement, it wasn't a negotiation. They came to us and they said, here's what we'll do. We'll give you enough Parmesan to do about 1/3 of a mile of road. And we would like for you to do that. They will send their CEO and their quality control operations person here so that they can make sure it's done right, to show us how to do it, to make sure that we don't mess up the experiment by screwing up the application, because it is new to us. So they'll send personnel to do that. They'll provide the material. There will be some cost to the parish, and that would be to rental a couple of pieces of equipment for about a day. That'd be a sheet split roller, a steel drum roller, and we'd have to get a water truck, because this is a solution that mixes in water. But I gotta tell you, it's far cheaper than anything else we're doing. If it works great. If it doesn't work, and we'll do the soil analysis to make sure we're putting it on the right kind of road before we do it. That's why I said to be determined in the package, because we have to look at a sample road and then do a quick soil boring and see if it meets the requirements.
It has to have at least 13% makeup of clay. That's what it bonds to. It uses the bonds inside of clay, and whatever's inside that clay, he tightens it up. I mean, I just gave him a sample right there. That's a 52% sample of clay. It's like concrete. I think Joe was supposed to try to bust it at work on a hydraulic press. Did it ever bust?
I never had a chance.
Yeah, okay, well.
Now, there are no strings attached to this test.
Yeah, and let me ask one other thing,
Sure.
and we talked about the clay. Now, some of the roads, maybe they don't have the clay base because they always had the asphalt. How does it work for roads that has been asphalt?
According to the representative, you can take and mix this stuff separately with a binder and place it in potholes, and it stays. You can fill potholes with it, with the right binder.
Mr. Richmond, you were about to say something.
Yes, when you-
If we purchase it or something, is it a price involved, or a lot price, or something?
Here's the offer they've made us. Thank you, Mr. Page. The offer is that they will bring that supervision, provide the Parmesan materials. We would provide those 3 pieces of equipment that we don't have currently in our fleet. We just rent them for a day or so, a day or 2. And we would go through this experiment. At the end of that experiment, at no predetermined time period, we would look and see, do we think this is a good product or not? If we do, Parmesan will grant us 5 years with no price increase. So it'll be the price it is today for the next 5 years. And what they get out of it is anytime we do stabilization of any roads, that we would use their product. So it would be an exclusive contract with them to guarantee 5 years of no price increase. But for this experiment, there is absolutely no responsibility on our part, no obligation on our part, other than we would provide the labor and the equipment to install the material.
I think, Mr. Richard, and this is just me, I would say, as the work that these 2 gentlemen has put forth, I would like for them to basically, they should benefit from the first initial 1/3 of that coming from me, or as I see, as far as any decision making. I know this is not, we're making a decision, but I just think in all fairness that these people have went out and done this research, and I think they should be the initial setting of where it
That's a
should be
great idea.
placed. And then we can come back, if it works as well, we need to go full forward.
I assume y'all's roads have 13% clay? Is it at least 13%?
It has to be at least 13%.
It can be more.
Oh, God, yes. The more the better. in
Yeah, the
fact.
more the better.
Okay.
I live on Roebling Provincetown Road, but my cousin lives on Sylvester Road, which is horrible.
And
It's absolutely horrible.
there's a fairly easy test. I mean, literally, you don't even have to technically send it off. As long as we can see that there's a high
But I
clay
mean, we
content.
could put it in, more than one area too, that's fine, but I think it definitely needs to start.
It would be a good idea to do this 1/3 mile and do it in a part where we don't do it on the next 1/3 mile, and let's compare, let's see.
Exactly.
You do the experiment, do the experiment. So that's what's on the table in front of you tonight.
And I'm sure that it can be applied to places in your road, your district, Ms. Patsy. And the only thing we're gonna get out of this is good roads.
I'd like to see it go in years. And first, if I've waited 50 years, I can wait 50 more.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you so much. And again, thank you folks for letting us come up here and present this to you. Thank y'all.
I'll offer the motion to move forward with this test.
And I'll second.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, number E, council to consider authorizing the parish president to enter into an incorporated endeavor agreement with the following Good Samaritans and to sign and execute all documents related to the agreements. A would be, you want to come forth and tell us what this is about, Mr.
Yes, sir.
Is you did this? Whoever. A would be Williams and Sons Salt and Supply Incorporation, Kevin Tyler Road. B would be Monte Trachelle, Park Road, Boynton Cotton, Central Loop. D would be Allen Beasley, that'd be Rachel Camp and Benjamin Pike Road. E would be Victor K. Second, Cat Island Road, and F is Simon Sorty Kaczynski Road. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The goal of these Good Samaritan CEAs is, in 2018, there was actually an opinion rendered by the DA that said that these type of things could be considered donations. Well, some of these donations from people have been sizable, and they've been not just sizable in the funding and the use of their equipment, but also their time and their time over time. And so, as just a matter of full transparency here, as we reviewed the ordinances associated with these type things, we noticed that while we had a legal opinion in 2018, which was of course well before I took office, the ordinances say that the council approves anything of value like this. And so what I'd like to do is on a monthly basis, it probably won't be this many, we're kind of catching up here, is to put these Good Samaritan CEAs so that the parish council will see who is doing work with the parish material. Now, by and large, this material is material we deliver and they spread on their roads. We go back, we monitor it to make sure that it doesn't wind up on private property, it stays on the parish roads. And they are responsible for the distribution of it along that road and the upkeep of it. It's worked very well. We just thought as a matter of transparency that we would bring it to the council so that everyone, including the public, would be aware not only that this is going on, but the opportunity for further Good Samaritan work.
Question, how would for as it'd be work done just on those roads?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Now, it's only on those roads, and primarily those are residents that live on those roads.
Yeah, so it won't be a spin-off road that's right over the next, and they need someone and all that?
No, I mean, the closest thing you see to anything that could be considered a two-road thing is Rachel Camp Road to Benjamin Point Road, but you get to Benjamin Point by Rachel Camp, and so it's kind of the same passage.
In the past, years ago, we've had, and people have won judges against us because gravel was not spread correctly, I think the terminology was used. And they did win a judgment against the parish quite a few years ago. But, how do you not spread gravel? A guy fell off the motorcycle or something.
I can give you my layman's.
And I just wonder, will these guys have, they probably already know how to spread it, I don't know, I'm just asking.
I'll probably default to Mr. Mansour and let him answer that. He's issued an email.
The discussion, Mr. Chairman, was a liability, and if the residents put it down, they're actually exposing themselves to liability also. One of the conditions of the CEA is that the superintendent of the highway department will monitor this work for two reasons: to make sure that no asset or property of the parish
is used other than on the parish roads, and that the monitoring will provide a vehicle so that if the road is not done properly at any time, this agreement can be canceled.
I don't have a problem with it whatsoever. You know, it's get to the point where you can't even go anywhere. Where you go, people are bombarding you with how bad the roads are and how they're pitiful. And this is what the public is saying. So all the reason I asked the question was to be clear and let people understand what you're trying to do. So, you know, being in Louisiana, I understand that people don't have a lot of trust in a lot of folks when you go out and put material out there, Parish, material. But we're gonna entrust that these Good Samaritans are just that, Good Samaritans, to be able to help in their area because people are hurting. They need whatever type of assistance they can get. And I mean, it's that bad now. You know, years ago, people used to tell me, say, well, Mr. Page, I kept from hitting potholes. I had to drive in the ditch. Well, now they're driving in the ditch and hitting potholes in the ditch. It's that bad. It's really that bad. So if there's a way we can help these people with this, let's move forward. Go ahead.
I'll put in form of a motion, Mr. Chairman, to accept, let Mr. Richmond have his agreement. Okay.
Mr. Falk,
Yes?
Mr. Cheatwood,
Yes.
Mr. Page,
Yes.
Mr. Goodwin,
Yes.
Ms. Hoover, pass.
Okay, is the rest of is this other similar, this is different?
It's different.
Okay. All right, L would be council to consider authorizing the parish president to enter into a corporate endeavor agreement for Woodle Construction LLC improvements to the Manual Road.
Mr. Chairman, thank you once again. And I'll just keep the mic this time because I know you'll probably be coming back to me. This is as a result of a meeting that Mr. Salter and I and Mr. Szilard attended of the folks out on the Manual Road. And Manual Road, for those of you who know it, is a long stretch of road, and the people who live and have property there decided they wanted to be involved in the solution on their road. And so they agreed to come forward with a plan that would assist the parish, where essentially they would handle the ditching along their roads, and we would handle the hauling of what needs to be hauled off from those ditches, and then we'd come back and, with some material, cap that road. And that's what this cooperative endeavor agreement is for.
I'll offer that in form of a motion.
I'll second.
Mr. Salter,
Yes?
Mr. Kilgore,
Yes.
Mr. Page,
Yes.
Mr. Cheatwood,
Yes.
Ms. Hoover, pass.
Council to consider authorizing the parish president to enter a corporate endeavor agreement with Everall Farms LLC for improvements to the Solomon Lane. Solomon Lane, I'm sorry. To Solomon.
I'll offer that one.
Mr. Salter,
Yes?
Mr. Cheatwood,
Yes.
Mr. Page,
Yes.
Mr. Kilgore,
Yes.
Ms. Hoover, pass.
Okay, H, council to consider approving change order number 4 for the resurfacing of the streets in Payne subdivision, phase 2. Mr. Barrett, you'd like to come back for us, maybe some questions for you.
Yes, this change order is to provide for some cost overruns that resulted from work that was unforeseen as far as some additional drainage work that had to be done, and then also reconciles planned quantities to final quantities, and therefore by doing that, we actually have a net cost decrease in the amount of $23,000. And subsequent to the time that I sent this to the council clerk to be put on the agenda for the meeting tonight, the State Office of Facility Planning and Control actually has reviewed and approved the change order. So they're asking that you also revised contract amount is $870,132.64.
Does this, I'm sorry, excuse me. Does this complete the street projects and?
The project, basically has been completed and, basically we've accepted it.
Okay.
Accepted the project.
So, and everybody has been paid?
No, there are, after this approval of this change order, there are some payments that remain to the contractor. That are pending.
Oh,
Y'all got some more questions?
No, I'm good.
How much remains to be paid? I don't have those documents with me tonight, Ms. Hoover, but basically the main thing that needs to be paid is this new item that was added in this change order for additional mobilization. There was $1,584 for that item. And then the retainage, there's required 5% retainage to be withheld from all the previous payments. And as soon as we get a clear lien certificate, then we'll be able to make it. I do not have that total in front of me tonight.
Would you please give Ms. Hoover the total? In the meantime, we're moving forward. Do I have a motion on the floor? Let's move on. Okay.
yes.
Yes.
Mr. Page?
Yes.
Mr. Kilgore?
Yes.
Mrs. Hoover?
No.
Passed.
Thank you.
What's the last one there? I think that's the last. Oh, we got visitors, huh? I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Visitors, Mr. Randy Chambers?
Yes.
Okay. It's chapter rep.
I'm Randy Chambers, I live on Fish Hatchery Road, and I think I'm speaking for most of my neighbors down there. It was announced on June 10th, 2020, that they were gonna repave our road. Since then, the road crew has been down there one time to patch, and I think that was in late November sometime. They covered approximately, there were 3 of them with this manpower group. They covered about 3/10 of a mile in the whole day. And they missed more holes than they patched. I think their whole objective was to get rid of the load by the end of the day. They made no effort to try to even smooth it out. And all we're interested in is getting the tire bursting holes fixed. We don't care about the road being smooth. And we're patient about the road. And I realize they have engineers and studies and everything has to be done. But we have called and called and called and tried to express our point about this poor job they done. And the only story I ever get is y'all getting a new road. Y'all getting a new road. Well, in the meantime, we have to live on it. And I've called everybody, and so has my neighbors. So, bottom line, some of my neighbors, myself, there's no telling how much paint we have bought to circle the holes so you don't hit them at night. When it rains, you cannot see them. And even living there, knowing where they're at, I still hit them because the hydraulic pressure washes it out, the paint's gone, there's chunks gone, and it's horrible, it's horrible. And we're not asking anybody to make our roads smooth, we're patient with that, getting it redone. All we're asking is somebody come fill the tire bursting holes in. And if they cannot, we are willing to supply the labor. If y'all supply the material, we will do it. I even have a trailer, I'll come pick it up. I mean, we're willing to do that, and you can account for every ounce of it that we get. It will not go nowhere but on the road. And that's all we're asking. I have a file of pictures here if y'all would like to pass them around, but I'm sure y'all know what all these holes look like. And that's all we're asking.
Go ahead, Ms. Hoover.
Chris, I know you just love it when my hand
Ms.
goes
Hoover,
up.
go ahead, Ms. Hoover, I need all of that.
But, Johnny, he's asking that the material comes out and they will do the work themselves. Could you get some materials out so they can do the work?
He'll have to be put on the Good Samaritan list also, do that. He'll have to be put on that list.
Yeah.
Now, the only thing that they put in there that will not stay is that gray powder. First time it's washed, it's gone.
Yeah, that's not coming back.
Okay.
Well, I'm glad you were here tonight, Mr. Chambers, to hear about this news. And hopefully, we will have, the end of this month, I think is that correct,
Mr.
President?
Can I? Ms.
About
Hoover,
the,
can I ask a question?
I'm asking a question. Do we have the end of this month?
I actually asked, Regional Construction's, representative, Patrick Johnson, to come tonight so he could give us an update on it.
Okay, good,
And
okay.
that's what I was gonna ask, when do you expect to project on the road?
Well, and I know that rain delayed it last week, and I thought rather than hear it from me,
Yeah.
perhaps it'd be better to hear it directly from the contractor. And I thank Patrick for coming in tonight,
Yeah.
so I'll let him respond. Mr. Chambers, thank you very much. I appreciate it. You've been a patient man.
Thank you, Mr. President. So our plan is to have, guys doing some survey and some layout work on Fish Hatchery Road starting Wednesday. And as soon as we get that done, our initial game plan is to start the drainage work on the south side of the project, at 494, and we're working in about 2-mile increments, and, try to get going as soon as we can. Any questions?
That's wonderful. I've been playing subdivision insurance forever, about 10 years, so it takes a good while, and God bless, we finally did it.
Do y'all have a deadline?
Ma'am?
Do you have a deadline?
5 months, I believe, is the amount for the contract time, is 5 months. And we have asked that the notice to proceed be started on April 26th.
Y'all know I'm gonna hold you foot to the fire.
Anybody else got any questions?
How long?
Anybody else ready to visit?
Thank you.
Oh, 13.
Let's start off 13. Need a second? You have anybody else?
Mrs. Salter,
Yeah.
the chief,
Yes.
Mrs. Page,
Yes.
Peter Pan,
Yes.
Ms. Hoover,
Yes.
adjourned.
Man. We doing